Welcome to Overthinking, episode 13, where we take fun, interesting ideas, overanalyze them, stop it! and run them to their logical conclusions. All in the name of exploration, education, and most importantly, entertainment.
I'm Luke.
I'm Devin.
And we don't claim to be experts in the topics discussed here today. We simply find these ideas interesting as we hash them out in real time. Get ready to join us on this exciting, fun, and crazy ride to nowhere.
This week, we are deep in the heart of Fantasia, riding our luck dragon through the swamp of sorrows, past the forest of flames, and through the Brooklyn Tunnel, all in a search to find Elf, if you ever saw that Christmas movie.
Oh,
and
Elf.
Luke is trying really hard to break me, and it totally messed up.
You need to watch the video on Overthinking at YouTube, because Devin is decked out in Matrix gear. Looks amazing.
Oh, now we got a copyright strike against those things a lot, Luke.
No, and we could be talking about the math matrix, you know?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, he looks like a matrix. It's really, like, you should see it. Like, he transported himself into numbers. Like, there's all these lines going on. Like, it's really impressive, TBA. Like, I keep on...
It's like green scrolling, and it looks like it's like in an alien language, and like it's from 1999.
Yep.
And like we just don't understand how computers work.
Well, maybe you don't.
No, 1999, the movie.
Oh, God. Oh, okay.
If you watch that franchise, they don't.
Yeah.
They just know the public doesn't know how computers work.
Yep. Oh, because it was back in the 90s, and
1999.
Things were different back then. So many things were different. But you know what's not different now?
This movie franchise is old as my girlfriend.
Do you? Okay, I don't know. Like, is that movie franchise is?
It's like
I'm trying to. I'm in my mind. There was an internal struggle happening like light years per second of which joke do I make and what is the line and how far can I go with that line. That's what was happening in that instant. But I'll avoid it entirely. Just know that there's a possibility. Just fill in the blanks with whatever joke you want to think of. But here,
I know the show notes. Show notes are gonna be like, Luke doesn't have a joke.
Oh, I'm writing the show notes now though. So, and which is funny because you said something in one of the episodes that I just wrote the last one I wrote the show notes for. You said in the episode, man, these show notes are gonna be terrible to write. I'm like, ha ha ha, you have to write them, and then I had to write them. So I literally made my work harder for myself because I thought it was gonna be your work. It was, a twist of fate. But today, we are here.
So even when you try to know about me, I still get it.
I know. Yeah, completely. I just can't win. But speaking of winning, today we have something special. Devin and I have an argument which we cannot settle. And that argument, you will see, it's about a certain song. And we are going to debate today on whether this song is good or bad. I'm going to win, of course, because it's a good song. But first, before that, Devin, you drinking anything today?
I am totally dry.
Oh.
I don't have anything to drink at all.
You should wet your whistle.
I'm going to go get something to drink.
Go get some water. I'll keep them entertained.
Peace out, fam.
I'm going to talk about my coffee. So, now that Devin's gone, and I'm writing the show notes, so he'll never know that this actually happened, because I doubt he actually listens to the episode. I'm drinking this wonderful cold brew coffee. I am addicted to cold brew coffee, pre-made cold brew coffee. And yes, I know, a coffee aficionado is like, you gotta make it yourself. And yes, I make nitro cold brew for myself. I have freshly roasted beans, I grind them, I soak them for 12, 16 hours, and then I have a CO2 canister and all that. But honestly, that's a ton of work. It's not instantaneous, so I have to like make it ahead of time. And I've just been going to Trader Joe's, getting their super concentrated cold brew, and it lasts me for so long because it's so concentrated. I have to dilute it with water. And it's amazing. And so now that Devin's coming back, he still can't hear me because his headphones aren't on yet. He's getting his cat in frame.
Watch.
I'm watching. His cat is on. The cat is... What are you doing? What? Are you playing with the cat? Your hand's out of frame. Are you trying to get the cat off of the chair? Oh, he's trying to get that cat off the chair. That's what he was doing. That was entertaining. He's back. Everyone, he's back. His headphones are back on. He can hear what I'm saying now.
Now I have something to drink.
Oh, green tea. Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
I have my iced coffee. I was telling them about my iced coffee routine.
I'm not supposed to drink coffee anymore.
Yeah, well, my doctor said I could have 1 cup.
A week? A day?
A day.
A year?
She said if you need it, and I need it because I can't sleep. Well, no, that's a whole other story about my sleep things. Getting it fixed on Monday, baby, which is what happened this morning. But anyway, let's get into Devin. Do you have any secrets uncovered?
Do you have any secrets uncovered?
I actually do have a secret uncovered.
Okay, you go and I'll think.
Okay, you'll think. Okay, because I thought you were gonna do your thing, but okay. We're such a good team, everybody. We're on the same sandwiches. Thank you. My secrets uncovered this week is this comes to me every so often. Is I realize there's so much the power in asking for things, and how dramatic it can be simply by asking for something, and the difference. Because like I'm a very skeptical person, and I'm like, really, is it that like sure you ask for something, like you try to ask for like a discount, or you try to barter, or you try to ask for this or that. I'm like what's the big difference that I can make? And I always revert to that. And then this last week, I've been really good about asking for things and pushing and being like, I want this. And obviously not saying it like that, phrasing it in a completely different way. But basically like, hey, this is the sale. This is it. You need to buy. And basically just keep on pushing that. Because I know that it's a good thing for them. And I've what did I see? I saw some kind of video or something where someone's literally just asked for something. And they immediately got this huge thing just simply because they asked. And so that's my thing, is that I'm constantly reminded to ask for things.
I'm going to tell you a story about this.
Okay.
It's several years old now, and maybe you actually heard about it when it was like mainstream and was like the event that was happening.
Okay.
But there was a guy who had a YouTube channel for a while. I don't know. I don't even know what happened to this guy, but
Go ahead. Yeah.
But every video he made was the same exact video, effectively, where he was just calling out a specific individual or a specific company and asking them to give him $100,000. So it was effectively like, hey, Mark Cuban, I know you're rich and you wouldn't miss it. Give me $100,000.
What?
This is basically all he was doing.
I've never heard of this.
And so a billionaire gave him $100,000. It was like he had something like just shy of 100 videos.
Yeah.
When someone finally actually this person reached out and said, "Yes, I'm going to give you $100,000, and here's how I'm going to do it." And the billionaire made it a PR stunt, so he made money off of it.
Right.
But the guy got $100,000 for asking, and literally had an interview, like daytime TV interview afterwards about his experience, and was. In the interview, he was asked, "So what are you going to do next?" He's like, "Ask for $1 million?"
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Wait, Devin, move the mic closer to your face, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be pretty close to your mouth, like mine.
Nah, it's a good mic though.
Okay. Yeah, so that's okay. That's cool. Did you want it? So what do you want to do, Devin? I'm going to leave it up to you. What do you want to do first? Do you want to have some fun first, or do you want to have some basically evisceration first?
I think we should end on a good note.
Okay, cool.
But I did think about it while you were talking, and I have a very similar veined Secrets Uncovered. It's just from my experiences selling this last week that I've been in a lot of sales jobs. I mean, at least for how old I am.
Yeah.
A lot of different sales environments. And one thing that I've had consistency with my career in selling is when somebody buys, they're grateful. Period. Right?
Yep.
That's part of why they bought.
Yep.
And so they're happy and they thank you for the experience. This week might have been the first time ever that I had people thank me for the opportunity when they didn't buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that happen twice this week. And that is like, it's a really weird sense of validation because it's like, you didn't get the sale.
Yeah.
No, but it's evident. It's self-evident that I'm doing business right.
Yeah.
Because people are thanking me for even offering the sale. And like,
Mhm.
if you can get that, if you can get people to be grateful that you took the time to give them a chance to buy, to get like, I gave you the chance to give me money, Luke. You should be grateful.
Right. Yeah. No. Totally. Totally. And yeah, I know. Like, it's super cool, and that's a sign that you're doing something right. Is when people are thankful even when they can't buy, because then that they're telling the truth. Like, because people will say like, oh no, I don't have the time or I don't have the money, and you're like, do you, like, really? Like, how do I know that you're not just trying to blow me off? But when they thank you and they're like, I wish I could buy, but I can't. That's when like, oh no, you actually do want to buy, but your reasons for not buying are valid.
Especially when it's like consultative sales, and that like through the process that that's very, very genuine, that they actually want to buy.
Yep.
If it's just a quick sales call, it's easy to say I wish I could and not mean it, but
Right.
in a consultative style,
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes very clear.
Yeah. I should clarify. Yeah, so that's
And
cool.
it's super cool.
Yeah, so now that we've exchanged pleasantries, let's just get into it. Devin, for once and for all, your phrase is that you want to solve all of life's problems and questions in one hour podcast.
I think we can do it.
I know you do. The weird thing is, I kind of believe that you actually think we could, but
like, why not?
But today, instead of solving all life's problems, we're gonna solve just one problem: the problem of Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, one of the greatest songs ever to exist. Devin is in the negative, and to do so, we decided it'd be so great to have a structured debate. And by the way, this is my first structured debate ever. Which means,
and by structured debate, we're just gonna argue, and it's not gonna.
Well, I was thinking, no, I actually have a timer. I want to.
Yay,
Yeah,
nice.
I want
Okay.
you to present your idea. Like, who would go first in a real debate, the positive or the negative?
I mean, I don't think there's a consistent answer to that.
Oh, there isn't. Oh, okay. I thought there was.
I mean, there very well could be. I just don't know. And I mean, I understand forthright that I'm in the minority position.
Yes, you are.
Right.
So I would
like-
go first, right? Since I'm by the majority. Right.
Sure.
All right. How long? I wanted to ask you this beforehand, and I just didn't because I had stuff to do. What do you think? Like 3? How long should we take for the first opening statements? Like 3 minutes? Is that too long
Sure.
or too short?
No.
All right.
No, that's fine.
I literally don't know. So wait, I've actually have
This
a
has
sheet.
been well planned.
This has been so well planned. So we're
Yes.
gonna put 3 minutes on the clock. I have my sheet here.
I'll let you know too, Luke. If I had known that we planned on doing a formal debate, I actually would have researched.
Well, that's what I mentioned. Well, I mentioned it, like, to be fair, I mentioned like an hour ago, and that's what I meant. Did I not say formal debate? I said debate style. Yeah, in a debate style. Okay, fine. I'll take that. I didn't say formal debate.
So I didn't do research for this, but I'm going off. I'm shooting from the hip.
Yeah,
here.
shooting for the hip.
But
Lesson in improv. Let's do it.
I'm still gonna win because I'm still right. But
So
and if a debate's done well, the
I
true statement
I
wins.
started my timer. Alright, I'm gonna reset my timer. There we go. So there's been a lot of music over the years. A lot of evolution has happened. We went from very simple instruments to more complex instruments, and then combining those instruments into more complex orchestras. New styles emerged, like Baroque, right? We started off with like a clavichord, very simple, very precise. And then as we evolved, especially through the Romantic period, then things started to get a little more focused on emotions, right? A little more loose with the rules, still having the rules there. Everything is rule-based. It's like D&D. Everything is still Dungeons and Dragons for those who are uninitiated. There are very, very precise rules, but there's a ton of creativity to explore within those rules. And as we see the progression, especially through the modern era, with jazz, jazz is the ultimate rule breaker, right? And then especially up until the modern era with rock. And then especially classic rock like Queen, that was the opportunity to explore human emotion in a wild way. And that's why I feel the essence of classic rock is, in the, I believe it's 60s. Yeah, Freddie Mercury lived from 1946 to 1991. It's 1997 was when Bohemian Rhapsody was created. And during this period, there's a ton of freedom movements, a ton of exploration, civil rights, like a ton of stuff was moving during this time. And classic rock was the rebellious way to explore these ideas. And that's how I think that Bohemian Rhapsody for me is the culmination of classic rock and these ideas of saying, what are the rules? What are people used to? How can we lead them with these rules and give them a format to understand, but at the same time, give them something they've never heard before? And you can see that in Bohemian Rhapsody with the 5 different sections. You know, you have the intro, which is a little more of a ballad. You have an opera.
Intro's a cappella.
A cappella. Sorry. The a cappella and then the ballad. And then you move into an opera. Then you go into a rock solo. And then you end, with a more ballad style again. That combining with all the harmonies, combining with the methods that they produced it with recording tapes like 100 times on one tape, almost breaking the tape. All of this combined is a wild culmination of classic rock, of music in general, and I feel that embodies human emotion like no other song ever has, or maybe never ever will be. And that's my time.
All right, so here's my concern. Actually, I'm gonna start this from a larger sense. My least favorite musical genre is jazz.
Okay.
And there's a very, very specific reason why. It's not that it's something that I've actually put thought into in the past. There's something that jazz doesn't always do, but tries to do frequently. Is it tries to actually hide its rhythm. Yes. Like jazz always has a beat. Every song is written to a measure. There's a standard. And jazz just conscientiously tries to hide its beat. And I jokingly, when I'm having a casual conversation, I tell people that, I don't like jazz because I'm white. Give me a chance.
As you're cosplaying Morpheus. Sorry.
But, it's actually just that it creates a very, very strong dissonance in the music. It's not an easy thing to listen to. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a jarring experience from the beginning to the end of a jazz song because it's hiding its own rhythm. And fundamentally, I've gotten to the point where I describe a lot of songs this way, where I'll talk about how the thing that makes a song a bad song, regardless of every other structure, is if the song doesn't agree with itself. Right. So an example that I would use for this is like, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
All right.
The song doesn't know what it wants, and so it sucks.
All right.
And it's just creating constant dissonance in a way that I can't casually listen to the song. I can't listen to the song in a way, I can't party to the song. I can't dance to the song. There's nothing that I can do with this song that's anything that I could call entertainment. So it's utterly failed at the purpose of music. And in a very similar way, and in a way that I'm going to dig into much deeper on my next turn, that's the same reason Bohemian Rhapsody absolutely fails at being a song.
All right. You still have a minute. You want to forfeit it?
Yeah, I'll forfeit it.
Okay. Now we get into rebuttals, right? Another 3 minutes.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right. You're the debate expert. Okay. You mentioned that jazz has a dissonance and it hides its rhythm. And that I can agree with. Its purpose is to surprise you. And I think the thing you're missing, though, is that music is inherently emotional. Like music, its purpose, down to the instrument, like using brass instruments in warfare, the reason it works is because it reminds us of animals' war cries. Music itself is an emotional piece, and that is its primary purpose. Is that if music doesn't have an emotional response, then it's technically, you could say, okay, it follows these rules that we've created, but it might be like pleasant, but it doesn't mean that it elicits a response, and that's what makes a song great. A song is great when we feel attached to it, when it relates to our own experiences, when we can draw upon our past. And we can use this song to feel our past and explore our own emotions in a way that we've never explored them before. And that's why, first of all, I like primarily playing jazz more than actually listening to jazz. simply because jazz lets me have the freedom to feel out a song and then use my and then while sticking to the rules of the rhythm and of the notes, still play around a little bit with the rhythm and holding let's say like if it's a 4/4 beat. I'm still having those 4 beats, but one note might be held just a little bit longer than it is written, simply because it feels right and it elicits more of an emotional response when I'm playing it. Which is why I enjoy playing jazz versus listening to it, because very few jazz songs I feel I emotionally get responsive to, just because I would play it differently. It's just a nitpicky thing that I have. And that's why when it comes to Bohemian Rhapsody, is that I wouldn't say that it disagrees with itself. I would say that it starts off with a purpose and it accomplishes that purpose. It starts off with a purpose of literally exploring. The first words are, is this a real life? Is this just a fantasy? Are we caught in a landslide, no escape from reality? Open your eyes. And that's kind of with that intro, it kind of sets up the idea of what is this life? And it goes through the story. Do you know this? I guess in the question and answer, I break in the formal debate. The story, for any of listeners who don't know, and if Devin, you don't know, the story is of a man who gives his soul to the devil and then is begging to get it back, and is regretting his choices. And when I listen to this, all I can think of is like the past mistakes I've made and how they haunt me, and how this follows. Let's say like with the acapella, right? With the ballad of the contemplation, and when it comes to the opera, it's the wildness of mistakes. And with the rock ballad, for me, it's the rock ballad. For me, just says it has that is the peak of the rebellious nature of this song, is saying, I don't care, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then, of course, ending with a soft contemplation again. And that's my time. I went a little bit over because I wasn't looking at the clock. But that's my response. Right, go ahead.
I'm going to rebuttal your rebuttal. I'm not going to rebuttal your opening statement. I'm going to rebuttal your rebuttal. The notion that music is supposed to elicit emotion, I think that's only partially true. But I'm gonna respond to that in two forms. One is fundamentally, and in every culture that's ever derived music historically, it's with that derived dance.
Yes.
Music. I'm not saying music doesn't elicit emotion or that it's not supposed to, but it has an equally valid function of being something you can dance to.
Okay.
If you cannot dance to a song, it doesn't do what music was designed to do. And you cannot dance to a song that doesn't agree with itself, from a musical perspective. You cannot dance to a song that doesn't maintain a steady beat. You cannot dance to a song that changes formatting. Mm-hmm. It just fails. Now, on the other end of, music is also supposed to elicit emotion. I agree with that. And I think that the music does its job if it elicits the emotion it intended to elicit, or even just one that is a enjoyable experience on some level. Like mm-hmm. not all art is supposed to make you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's not the purpose. But when you go to an art museum and you look at a painting, if you look at Picasso's Guernica, you're not supposed to feel good. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. Guernica is supposed to make you appalled at what the Nazi regime's doing. That's the point.
Yep.
And you can see that and you can feel those emotions, and it can be a very intuitive, in-depth experience. But at no point are you going to not be able to see that because the medium failed you. How much time do I have?
You have 45 seconds.
I have 45 seconds. Okay. So Bohemian Rhapsody is what's it start with? It starts with an a cappella, mm-hmm. Then there's a ballad, then there's an opera, there's a hard rock section, and then there's a coda.
Yes.
This is the musical equivalent of a 4-year-old being told to make a collage, and the parents look at it with disgust but put it on the fridge because their 4-year-old made it. It is someone who has no idea what they're doing, and they're just mashing things together and saying, well, we can do it, so let's do it. And no, those things are different types of music for a very specific reason. They don't go together. And evidence, no one's done it since.
Yep. That's exactly your time. Let me. Okay. So now Q&A.
Sure.
Yeah. Your my first time moderating and participating in a debate. So yeah, so I just want to ask you some questions. Is this usually timed, or is there a number of questions?
I mean, there's usually a time limit, but an audience too. So,
Right. All right.
um,
I don't know. I'll put
let's just
5 minutes on it.
let's just keep it loose.
Let's
Yeah.
just keep it loose. Let's just keep it loose. Let's just play this one loose. We can do whatever we want. This is our podcast.
Sure.
So music was associated with dance. Do you think that music isn't good if you can't dance to it then?
I think it's failed at a very large purpose of music. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but that means that it can't do something that music is supposed to do.
Okay. Then do you think that like classical music like music like there's a lot of music throughout history that people have historically not danced to? That was it's more of a viewing. Like you would sit there and listen to it over history, right? Rather than dance to it. And there's a lot of music that you just can't dance to that is pleasant to listen to. That's why. So like, what category would you put that in then?
Give me an example.
Well, I mean, one example is Bohemian Rhapsody. One example, let's say,
Give me an example.
Let's say, Beethoven's third, Beethoven Moonlight Sonata Movement 3. It's a wild.
So, let's talk about like classical composers just in general. Okay. First and foremost, you can dance to it. So I mean, you're right that people traditionally don't, but you absolutely can. There's a steady beat, there's a rhythm, and there's a style of dance that works with it. But actually, there's a lot of styles of dance that work with it, and like in general, it would be interpretive dance, but any partner dance can be choreographed to a song like that. But something that those composers that era of music was really really good at doing was writing music that just purely off the instrumentals paint a mental picture.
Yes.
So they're taking you through a story. It's almost like watching a movie. Personally, and maybe we can find a counterexample, but personally, I don't think that same effect can be created by music that has lyrics. When it's purely instrumental, it can paint a beautiful picture. When there's lyrics, you're forced to follow along the narrative of the lyrics. So you can't create these images in your mind. So that fundamentally changes it. So first answer is just that no, you can't dance to that music. Second answer is if you choose not to, you get a beautiful image of whatever you want. So you get a very unique experience. So it's valuable in both ways. Bohemian Rhapsody, neither of those statements are true because you cannot dance to it, and then the lyrics get in the way of you creating your own pictures.
Yeah. Okay. One final thing, and I'll turn it over to you. There are plenty of people who have choreographed dances to Bohemian Rhapsody. Because, and here's the thing is that I understand what you're saying. It doesn't have like the steadiness. What you're saying is that it's not consistent throughout. It changes. But that's, I mean, classical songs all the way to modern music, changes beat tempos, changes, the key that they're in, changes the style, throughout. I mean, you could see that. I mean, whether you classify them as different songs or not, you could see them in the different movements. Let's say of like Moonlight Sonata, one of my favorite, like 3-piece movement pieces. And you can see that on a ton of modern music where they'll have a song, and then they'll change key, they'll change the beat, and then it'll still be an awesome, pleasant song to listen to that you can still dance to. You just need to change the choreography midway through.
So what's your question?
My question is, that's right, that wasn't a question. With that in mind, is that I know, I mean, you dance, swing dance primarily. I know you've done other dance, I think. Is that with in mind, because other people have choreographed dances too, and I've won competitions and I've done ballets, singing with this song. Does that change your mind about this, you being unable to dance to this? And I know I've danced. I mean, I dance to Bohemian Rhapsody constantly.
So actually, it's interesting that you ask it in that fashion. I I actually expect. I mean, I haven't seen any because I won't subject myself to that song because it's hideous. But I think that anybody who would choreograph a song to Bohemian Rhapsody would probably end up being a very well, like a good dancer could probably make something really cool to go along with the song with the strong changes. Like that would actually be something that would be entertaining if the song didn't suck. Um,
Okay.
so
Well,
um, in that regard, if people like choreographing songs, like yeah, they absolutely can. Artists are amazing, and I'll bet some of the choreography is amazing. Um, there's a second half. There's a second half to what you said. I don't remember what it was.
I dance to it all the time. I was like, ended on. I was just saying is that with that in mind, does that change your viewpoint of it? Because that was one of, I mean, basically what I'm getting at is that was one of your main critiques is that traditionally the purpose of music it always
Right.
involved
Oh,
with dance.
that was your second half. Was just pointing out that it's not the first song to like
Oh,
change up its style
right,
partway
exactly.
through. And sure, and it not by any means. Actually, I think most good songs inherently do that at some point. It's how you create excitement in a sense.
Yep.
The distinction is how it's done.
Hmm.
Like first and foremost, I can't think of one. That doesn't mean there aren't any. I can't think of a song that's literally just taking entirely different stylings and smashing them together. Um, but
I have a
I'm sure there
ton.
are some.
Yeah.
That's not my larger point here. My larger point is really, Moonlight Sonata is a great example
Hmm.
of doing it with class. Bohemian Rhapsody is a great example of cutting apart random movies and taping them together and seeing what plays. Like it's not something elegant. It's not something artistic. It's something childish. It's not something I would expect from an artist or someone who I would appreciate as an artist. It doesn't play well.
I mean I have. Do you want to ask? Do you have questions you want to?
Yeah, actually I do. When was the first time you heard the song?
I was 14, 15.
Okay. Do you remember that? Like, is this a special song to you from the first time you heard it? Or...
I know that it came on the radio. Mom said, "Oh, I like this song." I'm like, "Oh, what's this? It's Queen." I was like, "Oh, I don't know Queen. What did they do?" Like, and I knew a couple of there's other songs that they'd done like very faintly. And then I heard it. I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I listened to it. I mean, I don't know the next time I listened to it. I think once I got some kind of like probably either once I got my first iPod or once I got my first streaming service or like I got on YouTube. It would have been probably a year or so later, maybe more, that I actually listened to it. And then from then on, especially once I got my first streaming service, and like my first phone and things like that, that's when I began consistently listening to it. And then I looked up Queen, and I learned more about Queen, and then I learned how to play the song on the piano. And that's when, especially when I've learned to play the song on the piano, that's when I began to appreciate the absolute harmony of everything. Not with with all the voices, but also the way that the tapestry is woven. Is that once you understand the individual notes and how they play, I think that's when you can fully understand how all of it is connected.
What does a song elicit to you? Like, what emotions does it elicit from you?
It elicits. I would say that it tells me. I would say it tells me a story of like sadness, regret, and then honestly, then it just elicits like towards like obviously, especially I mean the opera for me is like it's broken down into emotions that tells a story. One, it's regret. The first two parts I would say is regret and mourning. The opera then becomes fear. And then as soon as a rock ballad hits, it's kind of like the feeling of like, okay, like I got some energy, I got some power. Like I feel powerful, like listening to that rock ballad. And then I'm kind of reminded of the regret and sorrow that had previously come on with the end. And I feel very full. I feel like I've eaten a full meal when I listen to just that one song. I feel like it's a full like play or opera, like a stage production, all within a 6-minute song.
Lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
I actually there's actually just There's sections of Bohemian Rhapsody lyrically that I like, and
Okay.
sections of Bohemian Rhapsody lyrically that I
I have the lyrics up.
do not like. However, I do think, just the way that you described it, if Bohemian Rhapsody was 5 songs that choreographed with a play, it would be good. If you had the Bohemian Rhapsody playlist that was all the songs in a row that were from that play, and you could be reminded of what was happening in the play while you listen to it, I'd be fine with that. I mean, I actually don't listen to like playlists from musicals or things like that on their own because there's a disconnect that I don't appreciate it, I guess is the right way to say it. It's just
I understand.
not my thing. But then I'd be much more accepting of the song as a whole. Because like I said, there's pieces that I like and pieces that I don't like, and I don't like it as a collection. Like I don't like that it thinks it's a song, because it doesn't flow as a song.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take it in different pieces, and if it was actually going with like, actually it's probably only long enough to be like the first act of a play. But I mean, and then actually because of its narrative, it has to be the whole play. So maybe they would just need to be longer.
Yeah.
But if it was broken up to go with an actual story, then there'd be something to it. And I don't mean outside of its own narrative. I mean outside of its own narrative. If there was a play that it was made for, then I'd appreciate it.
Yep. All right. That makes sense. Do you have a question? Did I ask a question? No, you asked the question, right?
I asked the last question,
right?
And I just kind of
I also want to make an addendum to what I said earlier about the story. Is that the story is of a man who killed somebody, then put in jail, was sentenced to death, and gave his life and sold his soul to the devil in order to spare his life. And that I missed the first part of that. I skipped right to the selling the soul, right? And then that regret and basically, I mean, it's open to interpretation. There's no concrete story there, but I like to think that it ends with him basically just like, oh, I'm gonna die anyway. Like all of that was for nothing, all that pain and suffering was for nothing. Okay, I think I do have another question if that's okay with you.
Go for it.
I want to do some more Q&A. You said you keep on affirming that the song sucks, that it's not pleasant, it's not like, I'm really curious about, like, you mentioned a lot of different things about it, and I'm wondering if you'd like to expand upon why, like, inherently you think that musically, like, I wonder if you'd like to expand upon your idea more of like just the song just sucking. You say that it's horrid, that you would never subject yourself to listen to. Like why do you dislike listening to it? I think is the question I'm trying to ask.
I feel like I've already answered.
Do you?
That.
Okay, you have. Okay, I was wondering if you had anything more.
No, it's just it's such a jarring experience that it cannot be pleasant. And inherently music is supposed to be pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take piece by piece. The acapella section.
Yep.
Okay. If you just listen to the acapella section on its own, it's a beautiful, beautiful singer.
Yes.
Like amazing talent.
Yes.
And I don't like the song. I don't like the acapella section. I recognize the talent, and if I just don't like a song, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna debate about how the song sucks,
course, yeah.
right? That's not the point here. It's just not a song that just the acapella section, like, beautifully well done. Not a song I like.
Okay.
And actually, the hard rock section. I know I'm sipping around a little bit, but the hard rock section, incredibly well done. Amazing artists, and I like it. I like the hard rock section on its own.
Okay.
And the opera, but I don't have a clue because I don't listen to opera if it's well done or not. But they harmonize.
Yeah.
Like everyone's in harmony. Piece by piece, every individual piece, I can recognize there's some amazing talent that went into this. But it's almost like the YouTube video, What Does the Fox Say? Where when you watch that, you're like, how on earth did they get such amazing talent to agree to this?
Okay.
Because they're subjecting themselves to something horrific. And that's just because the final and I think the answer is that at least the people in the opera section probably wouldn't have gone along had they known the final product.
Yep.
Would be my guess, because I know the recording process. There's no way you know the final product because it was in Freddie Mercury's head. Nobody knew the final product.
Yep.
But
And
I mean, if you were to tell me that you were going to take, okay, if you were, I'm a martial artist.
Right.
I've done martial arts my whole life. If you asked me to teach you the most important skills of jiu-jitsu because you were going to take them and make a new martial art, I would not do it. And I wouldn't do it not because I would think that there's some inherent risk of that. I wouldn't do it because I would expect the final product to fail. And it just wouldn't be worth my time.
Right.
And from a musical perspective, listening to this song, the final product failed. It sounds like something that a child did, and it shouldn't be taken seriously.
Do you not think that there's beauty in contrast, though?
No, sure there is when done right.
What? Well, okay. What do you mean by not done right then?
I mean, you can't take two things together that look different and say, "Look, I made something cool." That's there's more to it than that.
Right, but I'm saying that like contrast, like in any story, contrast and conflict is what drives a story. And that's like one of the reasons why I think this song is so popular and speaks to so many people individually, is because it feels very personal because you internalize the conflict within the song. You internalize and that elicits the emotion. Is because you feel the conflict within yourself, and that elicits a different emotion and different memories and different experiences for everyone who listens to it. Which is why, because if you know me, I hate popular things, and I don't say that as like a prideful thing. I wish I did it because there's a lot of popular things I think I would enjoy. I'm just it's a stupid like pride thing where I just can't like listen to something or watch something if it's too popular. And
I'm sorry, I don't say this as a pride thing.
No, it is. No, sorry.
No.
It's
a stupid pride.
No, I'm saying like I'm not saying that I'm better than everyone else because I do it. I see it as a weakness. I see it as a stupid like thing of pride and as a weakness that I have trouble like taking part of popular things. And there's very few things that are extremely popular that I enjoy, and this is one of them. And this, even though I know that the majority of people say that this is a masterpiece, I still feel like it's an underground rock solo that only I enjoy. You know, that's what it feels like. That's why I say it succeeds on the emotion, is because it elicits such a strong emotion and it feels personal to you, and that's why I think the beauty of the conflict is and the contrast. And I think because it tells such a complete story, that the contrast is earned. I don't know if I have a question for you with that. I'm just curious about like you say the contrast isn't done properly, but I mean I have when I look at it and especially when I because I learned to play it on the piano, it all flows very naturally for me, even though it may seem contrasting. The contrasts have enough parallel between each other to make it flow. And especially with the voice. And I think, honestly, here's what I want to say, the final thing, okay? I did not expect us to actually talk this long about it, even though I know we always do this, is that I think what ties this together is the idea of bringing a very... I'm probably able to get flamed for saying this, but like for me, it's a relatively complex harmony with a lot of different moving parts, and especially with how they recorded it and recording basically until they almost broke the tape, which in itself, like the fact that this got made in the time that it did is incredible. Like just the recording process, I think is admirable, in how they did it. And how they push themselves to do it. And I think that's the part that brings it together. Is it almost feels like, I say this all the time whenever I talk about story, but I always talk about Lord of the Rings and how it's the journey to Mordor, and it's the people together. Like it's the company that makes it all possible. And sure, they may split up, but there's still individual companies that of people that bring the story together, that make it a complete story. Whereas if it was one person, it'd be the story would never happen in the first place. So that's how I feel like this I think that's one of the reasons why I'm just kind of like forming the solution right now. Now that I think about it, one of the things that tie it together is the company, the people singing it, and how they wield the melodies of both the instruments and their vocals together.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer the last question you asked me. You asked me.
I don't remember what it was.
Because you asked something to the effect of, "What do you mean the contrast isn't done well?"
Yes.
And that's the last thing you asked that sounded like I had a question mark. You just kept up, but I'm gonna answer it. You're a musician.
Yes.
I'm gonna talk to you about a little bit of like music theory that I think pianists understand better than almost any other musician.
Okay.
Okay. Can talk about consonant? Help me. Consonance and dissonance.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I didn't expect us to stutter over that word so bad. But consonance is effectively anything that's pleasant sounding.
Right.
Anything that's not necessarily harmonizing, but harmonic. Right. Anything that's pleasant to the ears. Dissonance is anything that's like jarring to that.
Right.
So when you're playing a standard melody, let's say you're just playing like
I don't know, like Happy Birthday. No, Happy Birthday has dissonance in it. I don't know. What's a pleasant melody? I don't know, like Baba Black Sheep. It's a very simple chord progression.
Sure.
Simple melody.
So you're playing Baba Black Sheep, and you're playing Baba Black Sheep in the key of E.
Okay.
And someone just goes and hits a random key. Probably 5 times out of 5, it creates dissonance because, like, if it's a random key, it's probably gonna mess it up.
11 times out of 12, I would say. But anyway.
Right, fair.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, dissonance generally is jarring, and especially when you're first learning to create music, you try to avoid it. Then you learn that there's actually a very valuable use for it. It's actually needed to make any song that's really meaningful.
Right.
And you also learn that you can even expound on that, and you can make a song that has so much dissonance in it that any consonants that you add sounds like the dissonance. So you can make incredibly jarring songs that, because they're like that, they flow and they're beautiful and poetic, right?
Yeah.
Now let's imagine. I'm laying groundwork, right, for the cover. Now let's imagine that you decide that you're doing a performance. And you're playing a piece. Let's say that you're playing what you said earlier was Moonlight Sonata.
Moonlight Sonata Movement 3, one of my favorite pieces of all time.
So let's say you're playing Moonlight Sonata, okay? And while you're playing and you're performing live, you hit a wrong key. Okay? Once. Good musicians know that the best way to hide that fact is to hit it again the next time you get right? And you hit it again,
or just move past it.
You hit it again every time you get to that point in any song that has repetition. And you do that so the audience thinks that it's a creative choice.
Right.
If they noticed at all. But now, at the very least, everyone believes it was intentional, right? Now, there's limits to how much you can do that.
Of course, yeah.
If you hit too many missed notes, it stops being the song you're trying to perform, right? That's the mistake I think Bohemian Rhapsody makes, is it does it too much in too jarring of a fashion.
Interesting. Okay, I respect that. I definitely respect that argument. I think that's very concrete. And I think that's where it gets into taste. And I think that's like where that argument starts divulging, is that's a valid argument.
This whole thing is
right,
subjective.
It is. I
don't like the song when I hear it. Why?
Yeah.
Like I like the song when I hear it. Why? Yeah. That's the argument.
No, I know it is. But I wouldn't lie if I came with the agenda of turning you. It's okay. I definitely respect that. But also, so I'm looking at the sheet music here. I have it pulled up, and now I'm mad because I have a piano right next to me, and I wish that I had this set up to where I could play it and then show examples and things like that. And now I'm mad because this is the one time that would actually be useful, other than my own enjoyment.
You could always play Piano Man on our podcast. I will let you.
That's actually, Piano Man is one of the best songs ever as well. But that.
Hey, we agree on something. Did we win?
I mean, Piano Man has a very, very strict. Like, there's elements of jazz in there, which I'm surprised that you enjoy. It's not. I wouldn't say it is jazz, but it definitely is borrowing some from jazz, just with the piano solos, like, especially since Billy Joel is such a brilliant pianist.
Okay. To be fair, even with the point I made about jazz, like, I don't dislike all jazz. I think some jazz is some of the best music I've ever heard. The concern that I have with jazz that makes me not like the genre as a whole overall is, generally speaking, they're trying to hide their rhythm.
Yeah, and Piano Man has a very, very concrete rhythm. Like, yes. It's literally just don 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 the entire song, and then even with the piano, the solo, which I tried learning, and then it was at a point where I stopped practicing, and so I never actually learned the full Piano Man song, and I'm mad because I bought the sheet music and everything. Okay, so I think I just want to, I think final statements, and I think we'll be good, and then we can get into some fun stuff. I think we've come to at least for me, I think we've come to a very reasonable place where most of the arguments are laid out. I'll say as a final statement is that every single rule, if broken right, can lead to something great. The problem is that not many people know how to break rules right. And so I think that Freddie Mercury is one of the most wild and creative geniuses of our era. I think he saw music in a way that most people just can't. And he used that to really fuel his emotions and really speak. When I think of what language he speaks in music for me. And so I think that he was responsible for a lot of the creativeness that we see in our modern music standpoint, on how people can play with the rules, and sometimes they succeed and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's terrible, but sometimes it's really cool because you've never heard anything like that. And I think that's, for me, Bohemian Rhapsody is a song where I've never heard anything like this. I feel something strongly. I want to listen to it again to see how I feel. And even when I think about this, when I look at, even when I'm looking at the song, I'm thinking about the song, I feel those emotions that I feel when I listen to it, because I've listened to it so many times in so many different circumstances for so many different reasons. I think that's the primary thing. The primary value of this song is that it makes people feel things and it helps them explore their emotions. Do you have any final thoughts or no?
Yeah.
Oh no! I know that look. I know that look. Okay, let's get into it.
I'm wearing sunglasses. You can't even see the look.
I can see the look. Read a mile away.
Any rule, if broken right, can lead to something beautiful, something amazing, something special. Most people can't break rules in a way that leads to something good. Queen is an example of people who cannot break rules that lead to something good. From the era, the Beatles is a beautiful example of people who were breaking rules that worked. They knew what they were doing. They did it elegantly. They did it intentionally. And one of the reasons that Queen stood out and became such an icon at the time was because there were quote-unquote competitors, even though musicians don't generally view each other as competitors, like the Beatles, who were pushing the boundaries and who were breaking rules and seeing what happened when they did it. And they weren't going as far as Queen. So Queen stood out because they broke a lot more rules and they pushed the boundaries as far as they possibly could. That's why they stood out. If it was good, people would have kept doing it. They didn't. But they kept doing what the Beatles did. Because the rules the Beatles broke deserve to be broken. The rules that Queen broke need to be there. That's why they're still there today.
Thank you for your time. I will say, in my lifetime, I hope another person like Freddie Mercury comes about. And I think that's, in my personal opinion. So I
can get on board with that. And actually, I like Queen.
Yeah.
I just don't like Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, I know.
But I like Queen.
In my opinion, and this is pure opinion, there's no logical basis for it. In my opinion, is that the reason why we haven't seen anyone do something like Queen or like Bohemian Rhapsody is because no one has been capable of it.
I mean, even if that was true, we'd still get things on the charts all the time where people were trying.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I think people try all the time. I don't think any of it's nearly as good. I think there are examples of people who aren't capable. I think it doesn't, and that's the thing. Like, and just like that's the thing that fascinates me, is that I don't think there's a possible way to ever teach a way of thinking like that. I think it's pure unbridled talent and creative genius. Like it's just you can't think like he did. Like the way I watched the movie was at best. It was an hour and a half long music video, which was really boring.
It also wasn't accurate to the circumstances.
Right. Yeah. Which
is annoying because this was recent enough in history that
you couldn't be accurate.
His fans know the actual circumstances. Yeah. Why are you lying to them? They know you're doing it.
Yeah. My parents, they grew up with them. I wouldn't say grew up. They're not that old. But they grew up with a lot of Queen music being popular at the time, and they went and watched it and they're like, oh, this is so great, it's so nostalgic. I'm like, but it's not like, anyway, that's the movie. I could do a 3-hour long criticism of the movie. But yeah, I really hope to see someone like that rise up and have that wild creativity that you're just like, this shouldn't, there's no reason, everything in my body says this is wrong and this shouldn't work, but yet somehow it does.
I mean, Kurt Cobain,
and
by the definition you just gave, he just broke rules and did things that shouldn't have worked and created grunge.
Oh, grunge, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I have to remember in a second. I was like,
you don't have to I don't know what you think about the genre, but
honestly, I would say I enjoy every single genre of music. I would say probably like house music, probably the least.
That's even I'm gonna add that to the point right there. When Kurt Cobain broke rules and did everything that you just described, it created a new genre of music.
Yeah.
If what Freddie Mercury did was valuable, wouldn't we have a genre of music that represented it?
No, that's fair. That's very fair. I don't know what genre. The thing is though, that wasn't a new genre. It was a combination of genres. It was a musical. Basically, the way I look at it is that he created a musical, and he created a musical in 6 minutes. And so it's not a genre. He just mimicked what a musical is, of what a play is, and condensed it. And it's just wild. The word I use for it is just wild. It's just literally like a wild animal. You can't predict it. It's like you can.
Wild is a fair definition of the song.
Yeah, of the song, and that's why I enjoy it. It's exciting. Every time you listen to it, it excites you. Because it feels out of control, but you still know it's in control, because you know how the song ends, But yeah, with that, we actually, wow, that was an hour of actually debating about that, which is awesome. If you like our debates, send us an email.
We can do more.
Yeah, we'll do more.
If you guys like it, we'll do more.
There's a ton of stuff we disagree about.
Right. I mean, actually, if you have any ideas, listener who's probably not listening because we have 2 fans, because Luke sends you all away. But if there is anyone who's actually listening who has any ideas, shoot us your ideas.
Yeah.
We might argue about it live.
Yeah, overthinkingpodcastshow@gmail.com. But Devin, you want to end with some fun?
Yeah, I got some riddles for you.
You got some riddles for me again?
I got.
By the way, so I've now officially listened to the riddle podcast I listened to. They crossed 100 episodes last week, so I've officially listened to 100 hours of riddles.
Nice.
So give me your best shot.
All right. So you could call these are actually logic puzzles is probably the correct definition.
Oh no, now I'm scared. Now I'm very worried.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the story, and then you're gonna have to make a decision. Okay. You are an adventurer, and you are on the search for treasure of some form. Okay. Nice. And you have you seen? This is not the narrative.
Yeah.
I'm a bad storyteller. Have you seen the Disney's Aladdin, the original
Yeah.
one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he falls into the Chamber of Treasures.
Yeah.
Okay. You fall into the Chamber of Treasures.
Mm.
There's just piles of gold, or a big pile of gold, really,
Okay.
all around you, right? And there's not a genie. There's a magical being who's standing guard. Okay.
Huh?
And this being, they describe to you, they explain to you. If you look at one of these coins, all these gold coins all around you, you'll notice that they're very, very unique coins, and that they have no markings whatsoever. They're perfectly flat coins. One side is gold, and the other side is silver.
Okay.
Okay. You can have all of the gold, all of the coins that are in this chamber, or if you do the task properly, you'll get all the gold.
Mhm.
If you do the task improperly, this being is going to kill you.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the task they lay out in front of you. You need to separate these gold coins into two piles. I don't care how many coins are in each pile, but each pile needs to have the same number of silver side up. Okay, each needs to have the same number of coins silver side up.
Mm-hmm.
You look around, and you see that right now, out of all the coins everywhere, there are 20, exactly 20, that are silver side up.
All right.
Then all of a sudden, the chamber goes pitch black. Now you need to make your piles. How do you do it?
Can I lick it? I would taste the silver versus tasting the gold.
There's no distinguishing characteristics.
No distinguishing characteristics.
Yeah. Which is funny because I had a very statistical answer.
Yeah, well, the statistical answer is to flip each coin and then flip it and go, okay, that one's gold, flip it, put that one in the other one. Basically just flip each one and put one in each one. Obviously that would not be perfect. But that's like the closest I could possibly get.
Well, and the funny thing is I even pointed out because I had the same answer.
I love how my first answer was to lick them.
I mean, to be fair, I solved this riddle the first time I heard it. But I had the same answer that you did first. And I even pointed out, I went further with it though. I was like, okay, but if I just throw the coins in the air and let them hit the ground, it's not a 50-50 whether they're silver or gold, because silver weighs more than gold.
Yeah, well,
they're probably going to land gold up, and then I'll just have two piles of all gold up.
Right. Well, that's what I was like, you said that there's no difference though, right?
Well, there's no distinguishing characteristics.
Oh, but the metal's still,
gold,
okay, so.
Right? So that was, and then.
I mean, you could balance it. You could balance it and see which side it falls down on if you're talking about weight.
Yeah, right. The response I was given at that point was, okay, you need a method that makes you 100% guaranteed to not die. Are you risking your life on that?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, probably not.
You see, so there are already 20 silver side up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge pile. Like it's like I mean, one response. Wait. You said there just needs to be two piles. What if I just grab 20 gold coins and then make two piles?
Okay, so the lights are all turned off, right? So you can't see if they're gold up or silver up.
Oh, wait, but you said there's a pile of 20 that are silver up.
They're not a pile. Just within the pile, there's 20.
Oh, so like scattered around.
Right, like a jar of M&Ms.
Oh,
like 20 green
okay,
ones.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's think about this. Let's go through ideas. Okay, no idea is a bad idea. Not true, but we'll go with that line of thought. What are different distinguishing characteristics? Okay, so flipping is not 100% guaranteed. Will get me the closest. Sound. Is this like a is this like a logical, like statistical thing, or is this like a practical?
It's
puzzle?
Not statistical.
Okay. Okay.
It's logical and it may be practical, but it's not statistical.
Okay.
And that the answer is guaranteed to work. It's not just highly likely.
Yeah, the answer is guaranteed to work. Let's think about the properties. One is weight. Getting a little hot there.
Yeah, now I'm like fighting him.
You actually look like you're about to just punch somebody.
Yeah.
Look like a bouncer, honestly. If you were maybe a
Nice.
little bigger. You're a
You
little
know,
scrawny to be a bouncer.
I've always thought this way, okay? If you see the movies, when they have the bodyguards,
Yep.
there's usually one giant guy,
Yep.
and there's one little guy. And you always think, what is it about that little guy that makes him make sense next to the giant guy? And then that little guy becomes scary because he's next to them.
Right.
Right?
That's
so
funny.
You're right, I'm not an intimidating bouncer on my own, but if there's other bouncers.
Yeah. So you're like, what? Why is that guy in there?
Exactly.
Like, what can he do? Like, he must be deadly.
Yeah,
That's actually
exactly.
that's a hilarious little psychological thing. You could just hire like a nobody and just put him next to a big guy, and you're saving
Right,
money.
and the little guy also, like, you need to be the loud one.
Yeah.
Little guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Just the confidence. You need a confident little guy. Hey, I could
Right.
I could be a bouncer. I'm
no,
the confident.
we need a bigger guy.
What?
We need, like, it can't be us.
Oh no, not us.
We
I'm saying
need
I
bigger
could be a
guys, though.
bouncer with a bigger guy.
No, and then you need to be confident but casually confident. Like, you walk in
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Is there
casual
gonna be a problem
confidence
here?
isn't my best suit. I'm aggressively
like-
confident.
no, the little guy's got to be the guy.
I
that's
know.
Like,
No.
Are we gonna have problems?
You know. No, I'm too aggressively confident. That's why it's funny. You thought I was at like a measure high on agreeableness when I took the test. I'm like, no, I do not measure high on agreeableness. Like,
I would expect you to. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, I'm not a casual. I mean, I'm where I. People are surprised when they see me in something less than a button up. Not a casual guy, but I'm thinking about, okay, so like properties are one would be weight, one would be, I don't know, smell, taste, feel. There's no difference between the two.
No, any of your senses, like the point of the story
Is that senses
narrative
don't matter.
Is that your senses have been cut off from being able to
Yeah.
help you in this case. Like, you can tell that it's a coin in front of you. You can tell that you've grabbed a coin, but that's it. That's all you got.
That's all. I don't know. I mean, the only thing is flipping them, because I mean, because the problem is there's some dotted around, so I can't just flip over half of them, because they're not all gold side up. I don't know.
Okay. So I'm gonna remind you this, and if it doesn't help, then I'll just tell
Okay.
you. But I don't need equal sized piles. I need each pile to have the same number of silver side up.
Oh, I thought you said the same silver and gold side up.
Just silver.
Oh, wait. Does every single coin need to be separated, or I just need two piles?
Well, you're gonna have two piles. So if you have three piles, you haven't done the job right.
No, I'm saying, like, can I just take two coins and then flip one upside down?
Well, then you have a pile of two coins and a pile of.
Oh,
potentially hundreds.
got okay. That's what you meant. Okay,
Right.
got it. Okay. Yeah. In that case, I really can't think of anything. There's nothing else in the room. It's just me and the coins. I just need an equal pile of.
And the, like, deity natured entity that's guarding them. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no, I can't.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you now.
Yeah. Or unless you have a
Okay.
hint.
I really don't think I do.
Okay.
Grab any 20 coins, flip them over, and put them into a pile of 20. Most of them are gold, so you're gonna grab them and you're gonna make the silver side up.
Right.
If you grab a silver one, like let's pretend you grab 19 gold and one silver one. Now you have 19 silver up because you flipped them all, and you have one gold up, and now there's 19 silver up left in the other pile.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah. My other one's harder.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Like, I gave you the easier one first. Okay. So, have you heard of the, like, 100 prisoners thought experiment, or 100 prisoners logic experiment? logic puzzle?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember any details.
Okay. So, there is an island prison that's ran by a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a prison, but now it is because he's a tyrant. Tyrants make prisons. And there are exactly 100 prisoners on the island. And each of these prisoners, and this is very, very important, each of these prisoners are perfect logicians.
Okay.
Okay? So he's captured 100 logicians, effectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no escape except for one really weird rule that this tyrant's made. Just because it's fun to him.
Mm-hmm.
At night, not during the day, specifically at night, when everyone else is in their bed, each night, each individual prisoner has their door open for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. During this 5-minute span, the prisoner can choose to get up and go to the guard and ask to leave the island. If the prisoner has green eyes, he will be allowed to leave. And they will be allowed to leave. And if the prisoner does not have green eyes, they will be thrown into the volcano on the island.
Okay.
Now, the prisoners see each other and interact with each other all day, but they are not allowed to speak to each other, so they've never spoken to each other. And there is nothing on the island that allows the prisoners to be able to see their own reflections. So none of the prisoners has any idea as to their own eye color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is I don't know my eye color, but if I have green eyes, I can leave the island just by asking.
Okay.
Okay. Now, because they're logicians, none of them is ever just going to take the gamble.
Right.
They're not doing it unless there's 100% certainty. You advocate that these prisoners need to be let go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't okay. And you appeal to the tyrant. And he tells you that actually he has this process in place that allows them to be let go. Right?
Okay.
So they can all leave freely. It's their choice. And you're like, no, that's not fair. Because the way you've set it up is not fair. And he's like, fine, I'll make you this amendment. You can speak to all the prisoners at once. You can give a declaration to all the prisoners at once. And you can say one thing. Anything you want, but here's the rules for it. You get one statement alone. You cannot give them any new information. Okay? So this isn't the riddle yet. This is still just flying, okay?
Okay.
Because the riddle version would be what do you say?
Right.
But the riddle version is actually virtually impossible to answer on its own.
Okay.
Just fundamentally. So you also were a perfect logician, so you knew that the best thing to say is to go up and publicly announce to all 100 of them, at least one of you has green eyes. Okay. I think I forgot this. All of them have green eyes. Every last one of them.
Okay.
I think I forgot to say that earlier.
Yeah.
But you tell them at least one of you has green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, the tyrant's like, what's this about? Like, that's like, they think
Right.
one of these logicians can see two people and know that at least one of them is green eyes, right? And so he's like, that was my plan worked. Mr. Tyrant's plan worked. Like, you weren't able to do it. And then 100 days go by and nothing seems to have changed. But on the 101st morning, all of them are off the island.
Okay.
The question is, how did that sentence give them the information they needed to leave?
Okay. So here's my thoughts. One is that so they would know, every person would know that everyone else had green eyes.
They can see that, yes.
So obviously it's still a 99% chance, like that, for each one. Wait, I've heard a riddle similar to this. I'm trying to remember the answer. At least one of you has green eyes. If you can see that 99 people have green eyes, And he says if at least one of you has it. I guess that would fall under more information. If he said something more like most of you have green eyes or something like that. No, I know. I actually okay. Wait, no, it's coming. There's thoughts forming. Let's see if they're intelligent ones. There's a similar riddle I've heard actually around like, a shot in the dark if no one shoots, and yeah, it's a little. I don't remember exactly how it goes.
You just said something. No, saying most of you have green eyes wouldn't be new information. Each one.
Oh, that's right, because they would know.
Right.
So
yeah, they literally could have said, at least 99 of you have green eyes.
Right.
And you'd have a very similar result. Because you're dealing with a murderous tyrant, you're being very, very safe by saying at least one of you has green eyes. So that's the statement you chose.
Right.
You gave no new information. 100 days later, they all left the island.
They all left the island at one night?
Yep. Everything was perfectly the same until the 100th night.
No, because I guess you wouldn't know. Well, because they were waiting. Everyone was waiting for someone else to leave, right? And during 100 days, if no one left, then they knew they were all safe.
Why?
Oh, because no one left. Because if he said at least one person has green eyes, they're waiting for that one person to leave.
So, just by that narrative, by what you've said so far, if at least one person has green eyes and one person goes and leaves, and they left successfully, now I have no reason to believe that anybody else has green eyes.
No, but you know...
Right?
Then they would know. No, so here's wait. So if I was in that position, okay, I see 99 people. All of them have green eyes. None of them leave during those 100 days. So I was wait. Here's the pattern. Okay, here it goes. Every single night. So after at least one of you has green eyes. Am I getting warmer to the fact of like they're waiting for someone else to leave?
Well, no, because I told you that they're perfect logicians, right?
Right.
So they will not leave without 100% certainty that they themselves are safe.
Right. There's something, I mean, I know that it's something to do with the days and the number of people. Is that they had to wait 100 days in order to make sure everyone was safe. Or in order to make sure they were safe. And everyone else is waiting for someone else to leave.
No. Actually, if any time within the 100 days somebody had just risked it, nobody else would ever leave.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm. If perfect logicians wouldn't leave at that point.
Because he said at least one, and they say everyone would think that at least one of you has green eyes. Oh, I know why. It's because he didn't say at least one of you has blue eyes. No? Would that be new information?
I mean, it's not helpful. I mean,
it's not.
Yeah.
Because I would wonder that kind of like why. Well, why didn't you say why do you have green eyes? Why did you say at least one of you has green eyes? Why didn't you say one of us has blue eyes?
Well, I mean, there's blue eyes and brown eyes and hazel.
No, but I'm saying like that's the two. You know that.
No, green is a shade of blue. Blue and brown are the two dominant shades, and everything.
No, but I'm saying in a situation. They say if you have blue eyes, then you're killed. If you have green eyes, then you're...
No, if you don't have green eyes, you're
killed.
You
don't have green eyes. Oh. I thought you said blue. Okay. If you don't have... Okay, that makes a little difference then. I thought that it was a binary. There's so much dead air on this episode. Just we're committing the mortal sin of radio, of just not
It's
having
okay.
anyone
Podcasts are more mature than radios.
talk.
Like we have a more mature audience. People can actually handle knowledge. Nothing that radio lives by actually matters to a podcast because we do things right.
Oh, and we can also edit ours because we're not live. I can edit out all my mistakes and just make it look like I had the answer all along.
Facts.
Because I'm editing it, and if you listen to it, you won't know until it's too late. I'm trying to. What I'm doing is I'm running parallels against the number of days versus the number of logicians, and what would happen each night, and why, and what logical premises would go from that. Do
you want help?
Yes, I want help.
Okay. Start off pretending there's not 100, but there's 2. And start thinking through what's the resultant if 2 people are given the public announcement, at least one of you has green eyes.
And and there's 2 days, and then you both leave.
Right. And then what's the thought process that those 2 are going through that makes that work?
Okay. That's a little simpler. If there's 2 of us, at least one of you have green eyes. You're saying there's one of us has it. I know it's them, and they know it's me. But we don't know that for each other. And it's not like you'd risk it during those 2 days. So what's the significance of those 2 days? Why is it important to wait? Wait, is a person... Wait. Clarify this. Is a person making an announcement one of the prisoners or no?
No, it was you.
Oh, it's me. Okay. I just want to make sure that I don't know if I was one of the prisoners in that scenario.
No, you just outside advocate for the blue-eyed or for the green-eyed logicians.
I don't know if I'm gonna get there without a lot of thought. See, that's the thing. Like when it comes to these kinds of things, I don't do well on the spot. Like
no, I thought it would be fun.
I know. I just I'm just thought processes like these. I need to absorb the information thoroughly.
I'm gonna walk you through it.
Walk me through it.
All right,
Let's see at what point I get there.
Let's imagine that there's only 2 people.
Okay.
And you tell them at least one of you has green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you look at the other person and you say, well, that person has green eyes.
Yeah.
So I can't leave. So you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You get up the next morning and see that they're still there. The only logical conclusion is they thought, well, that person has green eyes.
Oh, so I can't leave.
Right. So on the second night, you both leave because now you both know I have green eyes. Okay. Imagine there's 3 people. Okay?
Yeah.
On night 1, same thing happens. You see at least one of you has green eyes. The importance of announcing that is I see that both of you have green eyes, right? I see the 2 other people have green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But now that this announcement's been made, I know that you know that all of us know at least one of us has green eyes. We now have what's called common knowledge.
Okay.
Right? And we now have confirmation of common knowledge. And that's super important because we could always run off the assumption that people understand that most of us have green eyes, but we can't know that people know that until that statement was made. Now I know you know that. Now we have a common knowledge baseline to start with. So at least one of you has green eyes. Well, you have green eyes and you have green eyes. So I'm going to see if either of you do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Night 1, nobody does anything. I see that. I'm like, okay. So if neither of you did anything, why did neither of you do anything?
Yeah.
Right? And why did neither of you do anything? Because you both saw 2 people with green eyes. I don't actually know that yet. But I know that you both saw 1 person with green eyes. Because if you hadn't seen anybody with green eyes, you would have known it was you and you would have left. Right?
Yeah.
So now I look at this person and I can say, you know this person has green eyes. And you know this person has green eyes. Right?
Yeah.
And I know both of you have green eyes. Okay? With that common knowledge, if you don't leave you don't leave tonight, that's because you know that I have green eyes. And if you don't leave tonight, it's because you know I have green eyes.
Yeah.
So next night, oh, neither of you left. Now I know I have green eyes. This is actually mathematically how induction is done in like mathematical.
Yeah, no,
induction.
that makes sense.
Is you start with that, and then with that same premise, every person we add, the process just increases by a day.
Right.
So 100, like the number is arbitrary. The best thing you could have done for them is tell them, at least 99 of you have green eyes.
Yeah.
Because then they all could have left in one night.
Yeah, exactly.
Or on night 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you gonna risk that when there's like a murderous tyrant who's telling you not to let his people go?
Yeah. That's really cool.
Right?
I really like that a lot.
So
Wow.
Full
Okay.
disclosure, Grace Thomas, my girlfriend, gave me both of those riddles. I solved both of those riddles and then told her I was going to use them on the podcast. And then she sent me the YouTube videos that she sourced them from. Luke, I'm going to let you decide if you want to link the YouTube videos, but I'll send them to you.
Yeah, I'll link them.
Because, I mean, they're definitely not mine. And I don't know where these riddles came from initially, but Grace Thomas shared them with me via YouTube.
Yeah. No, I'll link them in the show notes. In the wonderful, wonderful show notes that are now I'm writing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what we'll be doing when we get to this episode.
I mean, this is real. I mean, we're accurate right now.
We are accurate right now.
Like, as of time of recording.
One of us is going to be writing the show notes. Let's wait 2 days and see who does it.
2 days from now? Okay, so the show notes aren't done. So that must mean that I wrote them.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. We have debated arts and music for the second time. We talked about art earlier. The sunglasses are coming off too. We get to see your face.
I know, right?
Also,
actually, the sunglasses with the headphones was just starting to really hurt.
Yeah, I was about to say. Also, for all of us video listeners, what knot is that on your tie?
Oh, thank you for asking. Okay, this is great. This is traditionally called an Edity knot, but it has a second name, and its second name is a Merovingian knot.
Ah, the Merovingian.
Yes, from the second movie. He wears this knot. It's hard to tell because he wears black on black.
Yeah.
But he wears this knot in every scene that he's in the movie. So I'm dressed as Morpheus with an homage to the Avengian.
Oh, that's cool. Because at first I thought it was just a trick of the lighting. I'm like, oh, maybe it just looks weird. And then I'm like, wait a minute, no. That is, and I just watched. It's funny. The only reason
it's like my tie is wearing a tie.
Yeah, no. Okay, this is why I noticed, because I just watched a really cool visual effects video of them like having a knot battle, of where they're like, and they'll like tie a tie, right, and make it look like it's basically a fight scene where they're fighting to tie each other's tie. And it's super well done, and that's all I can think of when I was looking at the entire episode. I've been staring at your tie and thinking of that video been playing in my head over and over again.
I used to wear ties every day, and for about a solid year, I wore a different tie knot every day.
Yeah, there's so many cool ones that you can actually make, and that's
This is probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's cool. It looks like your tie's being hugged by another tie.
Yeah, I've always said that like my tie's wearing a tie.
Yeah,
but it's like. The effect, it's got a very similar effect, especially when you wear it with a vest. It's got a very similar visual effect as like the anime characters that have like multiple colors.
Yeah.
But that looks bad in real life, and this looks good in real life.
Yeah, I don't know about good. But
wow. I think
we're gonna end it there.
It's over the top.
I spilled my coffee everywhere at the beginning of the episode, so I have some cleanup to do. Okay. Wait, we don't have an intro though. An outro.
No, I mean, that's a lot of work.
Okay, fine. No outro today then.